Back once again with another one. We got an emergency meeting that we're going to talk about right now, and I think that it is important for us to have a discussion on this particular topic, considering the fact that there is a war going on in Mexico. Now, with that war going on in Mexico, one has to ask, will UFC Mexico City still go on February 28, 2026, headlined by El-Kheer Kavanaugh and Brendan Moreno? That is a question that we need to ask. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to have some discussions on it, and we're going to wait for some people to pop up in here, and then we're going to get this thing cracking, and we're going to get this thing moving. So don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm here to drop some epic content down your way. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below if you think the UFC is still going on with Fight Night this coming weekend. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm asking the question. I'm not necessarily giving you a definitive answer in terms of what is really going on or what isn't going on. I'm just asking a question. Is it safe? Also, is the proximity of where the event is in comparison to where the actual violence of the cartel chaos going on in Mexico, how close are they with each other? And also, what about the fighters that are non-Mexican in the card, right? Are they going to be safe? Are their lives going to be in jeopardy in terms of what's going on there? Will they get kidnapped? Will they get shot? Will they be held for ransom as a hostage? These are questions you really have to ask, considering the fact that, well, we don't know what's going on in Mexico. We think we do. We may have a little bits of some information here and there, but at the same time, we really don't know, do we? And that is a troubling thing about all of this. We really don't know. So we're going to figure it out, and hopefully people in the chat are going to give some information, because not only is this channel specifically about, let's say giving information, right? I try to give information to the best of my ability, whether it would be through my anecdotal experience or whether it would be through, let's say, my own educated type of experience, right? Education in whatever field that pertains to the situation we're talking about. But I also love when the chat gives me information on certain things, right? So the challenge is, you guys let me know if UFC Mexico is going to continue this Saturday. And from what I looked at on the internet, specifically AI Google, they said that it will commence. That February 28th fight card will still go on. Now look, here's the other thing, right? If, let's say, this card gets canceled, or even months prior, they decided, you know what, we're not going to have this card going on, I would be completely okay with it. I promise you, I would be completely okay with it. There is nothing that interests me about El-Kheer Kavanaugh and Brendan Moreno, at least not as a headline. What I can see in terms of Brendan Moreno and El-Kheer Kavanaugh is maybe, let's say, a prelim fight. They could be at a prelim fight, maybe even a main card fight. Oh, Galaxite says, what's up, man? How are you, my man? Let me know what part of the world you are from. I believe this is the first time I've seen you here in the chat. But let me know where you are from. We have a very interesting community here, and I'm very happy that you are here to join us right now in this live stream. So we're going to get this thing cracking. Yeah, I really want to know, right, if this fight is going to happen this weekend. But, okay, this is what I wanted to say about the Kavanaugh versus Brendan Moreno fight. I would have been okay for this fight to be at a main card of a pay-per-view. I would have been okay with Brendan Moreno at UFC 326. But for these two to headline a Mexico City card just for the sake of the fact that Brandon Moreno is a Mexican, I don't necessarily agree with it. He says, do you like Imagine Dragons? Huh, okay, that's quite interesting. No, I don't know what an Imagine Dragon is. I know what dragons are, but I didn't know there was a classification of such thing as called Imagination Dragon, but you're going to have to fill me in on that. But on any regard, what do we have here? Kitty Loud 99 says, do you know, just spamming. You know what? You're not saying anything offensive. I'll let you spam, right? I let you say anything in here on my live chat so long as you don't say anything that is beyond the guidelines of YouTube that could get me in trouble, specifically maybe yourself as well. You don't want to say things that will get you in your screen name or channel banned just based on the comments. So yeah, spam away. Help with the algorithm. Help with the what do you call it? Help with the engagement. That helps with the algorithm, and yeah, you know the rest. So, all right. Here's the thing, right? The cartel. I did a little bit of some research on this, right? This Mencho guy. Did you know that this Mencho guy was a former police officer? And that is insane to think about, right? Because usually, when you think of a cartel leader, you think of somebody who is, let's say, a gangster, somebody that was born into a crime family. The idea of somebody being a former police officer turning into a drug lord, that is insane. But I tell you what, when it comes to cops and criminals, there's really not a huge divide in how they approach things, especially in their mental state. I'll give you an example. Cops, they love confrontation, and guess who else loves confrontation? Gangster-ass dudes love confrontation. There's no doubt about it. They love confrontation, they seek adventure, they get bored easily, and then the list goes on. So, is it really a surprise that Mencho is a drug lord? And the answer is no. It's not much of a surprise. The reason why is because the gap between their mentality is not all that different. There is a reason why they have internal affairs. Now look, if cops were the type of people that you can trust fully, right? I mean, they try a vetting process. If you were to go to the police academy, they obviously give you a lie detector. They do background checks on you. They ask your neighbor about who you are, and how you get down, how you interact with other people, what is your temperament. These are things that they sort of look for, okay? They look for these things. But the question is, when they look for these things, there's a lot of people that slip through the cracks. That is why you will always have corrupted police officers. And Mencho, the guy who was supposedly unalived during the cartel takeover, they probably had something to do with it. Man, I was gonna say, yeah, the U.S. probably has something to do with all of this. So, oh, do you know Stray Kids? I didn't see the Stray Kids part. Who is Stray Kids, by the way? Let me know who that is. Let me know who Stray Kids is, specifically. Kitty Lou 99. Yeah, I don't. What does your screen name mean? Kitty Lou 99. Okay, so obviously, yes, some people slip through the cracks even after being vetted, right? Now, why is that? Because like I told you guys, criminals and cops don't really have that much gap in between them when it comes to their mentality, their love for confrontation, their love for adventure, the fact that they get bored easily, you know, hence the name ADD Gang that we sort of monikered in this live chat, me and Mark Haney and Marty Miller, the ADD Gang as it's called. So, yeah, I don't know who Stray Kids is. You gotta let me know who that is, by the way. Whoever spammed that on the chat. But yeah, man, another lovely day in Sacramento. It is like 64 degrees out here, whereas in New Jersey, it is literally snowing like crazy right now. And I tell you what, though, a lot of people in California are concerned that perhaps maybe they may be affected by the cartel situation, right? Because you never know if these guys just decide, hey, you know what, we're going to show up and we're going to roll up in this part of town and then we're going to get down and that's it. So, Beefcake MMA says, are you hungry, bud? Of course, man. But at the same time, not really. See, when was the last time I ate? The last time I ate was 6 hours ago. So 6 hours ago was the last time that I ate. And then I have about 5 hours to go, close to 6 hours, until I get to eat again. So I'm not really, you know, that hungry, right? Because I'm still full from earlier. I had a lot of water. I consumed a lot of fiber, right, which really helps. A lot of protein. I ate a lot of eggs. Fresh Melon Juice says 10 plates. So, Fresh, are you aware that when you fast for a long time, right, you lose a sense of hunger? You understand that, right? Now, look, I understand everyone's body is different. I mean, when you go to the mosque, you see all these fat Arab and Pakistani dudes, and you, like, wonder, you know, what is it that these people do all year, right? But then again, you know, there's fasting in Ramadan, and that probably helps along the way. So yeah. Fasting is good for you. But I would imagine that maybe because their insulin is so high, their sugar spikes are so high, that even after the fasting, it's like, yeah, you know, they just grub it up with 10 plates. Fresh says, I eat once a day, one Ramadan all year. I Ramadan all year. You Ramadan all year. Not really, because you drink water, right? There was this Muslim couple that wore a shirt, right? They sort of went viral, right? They're like kind of, you know, liberal Muslims, so, but still they're Muslim nonetheless. You know what I mean? Not that that matters, but they have a shirt that says, not even water, right? Ramadan 2026. I thought that was a real interesting, you know, type of, you know, thing they had going on with that, right? You know, just kind of showing like, hey, look, you know, not even water, right? To kind of remind people that, look, we don't even drink water, because I've been in some workplaces before where I've had a boss or an HR person or somebody that was, you know, a manager of my team, and they would ask me, yo, you don't even drink water at all? No, there's no water. No water, no smoking, no drinking of any kind, whether halal or haram drinking, right? Although you shouldn't drink anything haram at all, which is more advisable than not. But at the same time, there's also other things you can't do. You also can't have intimate relations, during the day. During the night, it's a little bit different. You can absolutely, go crazy unless you're not married, unless you're MMA Guru, right? MMA Guru can't even, find intimacy, whether it's halal or haram, let alone have a halal relationship with anybody, or let alone a haram relationship. He can't have any relationships at all because the man is a hermit. The man sits in his computer all day, and granted, he's successful at what he does, but at the same time, how much more successful do you need to be until you just start finding your life's purposes, right? Like, you cosplay as this traditional male, but for whatever reason, you don't do anything traditional at all. I'm talking about MMA Guru. There's nothing traditional about this guy. So remind me again why this guy is supposed to be the hero to the right-wing community of MMA. Remind me of that again. Why is that? For no apparent reason other than just the fact that he is an incel, a cosplay trad guy. And every time somebody says something racist, he goes, oh, that's based, man. Yeah, racism is based. He says, Beefcake MMA says MMA Guru is funny. Well, that's perfectly fine, right? If that's your taste in terms of the type of MMA content that you like, look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, right? We don't need comedians in the world of MMA. What we need are people that know how to break down fights. Yes, he's able to do that. What we need are people that can share experiences with fights and with some fighters. Maybe to a certain extent, MMA Guru could do that because now he's building a stable of fighters that he now knows, right? He's got that going on. But what we don't need in the world of MMA is comedy. We don't need none of that. If you want comedy, go to a Dave Chappelle show, or better yet, go to a Bert Kreischer show, who, by the way, is probably the worst comedian ever. And the only reason why he got put on is because Joe Rogan is his homie. Otherwise, man, yeah, he would have never been put on. He would have never been put on if Joe Rogan was not his homie. Fresh Melon Juice says, we need more people like Nina Drama. Now, I know you're being sarcastic, okay? You can't possibly mean that. Now, if you mean that, you better give me some good reasons why we need more people like Nina Drama. What is it about her that you find interesting, right? I mean, if your whole entire prerogative with Nina Drama is attraction, then I don't know, man. Like, this MMA is not the place to look for that. There are places in churches and mosques. I mean, if you want to go the secular route, you can go to the club, but good luck with finding anybody that is halfway decent of something like that. But yeah, man, Nina Drama is absolute trash. Just trash to the core. So it's the last thing that we need, to be quite honest with you.
Please press the button and take the parking ticket. Please take the parking ticket. Please enter following the guidance.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Nina Drama is a cancer to MMA media. She really is. Okay? And you know what? This is where me and MMA Guru agree with this, right? And here's the thing, right? I don't even have anything against MMA Guru being in MMA media. I believe that he earned the right to be here. He earned the right to be the best streamer in the world of MMA. Okay, like, he earned that. I don't have any quarrel with MMA Guru as a content creator. With Nina Drama, it's a little bit more. It's a lot more nefarious than that with me. Okay, like, I think she should be out of the game, period. I think Nina Drama needs to go into a different field. I would not say that about MMA Guru, no matter how much I feel about him, because I'm just being objective and giving you a real intellectual take on this matter. He knows his stuff. What, am I going to be intellectually dishonest and say that he's not an intelligent guy? Right? That's not honest. There's nothing real about that. But I still think that he could do a whole lot more with his life. And he chooses not to for one reason or another. So, you know, that's on him. All right. We're going to go for a little bit of a walk, guys. You're going to come with me to... Remember a couple of streams ago where I did, what do you call it, a reaction to Floyd and 50 Cent going at it, right? I'm going back to that same spot. The only difference now is that you're going to see it in broad daylight as opposed to nighttime. I'm going to go to the same exact spot, the same exact area that I sat at when I was reacting to that stream. So, Fresh Melon says she's intelligent and knows a lot about MMA. You can't be serious, are you? Like, I think you're absolutely trolling by saying that. I don't think you really mean that. So, I've never heard her once give any intellectual takes on on the sport of MMA, to be quite honest with you. My man GP says they're not even playing. All right, so here's to answer your question, right? So what? So what? Like, do you think that I'm just gonna come here when they play? I mean, first of all, I'm not even a fan of basketball, to be quite honest with you. He says your head is almost as big as Dave Bautista. You would be an awesome Drax. Wow. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I guess I could take that as a compliment, Jimmy Myers. Right, your head is almost as big as Dave Bautista. Well, you know what? Dave Bautista is he's pretty lean nowadays in comparison to when he was in the WWE, right? He's a much different frame now than when he was in the WWE. So, yeah, man. Let's find a better seat right here. How you doing? There it is, man. Same spot. Yeah. So So yeah, listen, I want you guys to let me know, right? Is there going to be a game going? I'm sorry, is there going to be a fight going on this Saturday, right? I believe that they say that they are, but you know what? Anything can be subject to change at any given time. So yeah, we got to find out if that's the case or not. So yeah, man. These are hotels right up here. Look at this. These are hotels right here. See that? These are all hotels right here. So, yeah. Man, Sacramento's sure changed over the years, right? Before, this used to be a mall. A lot of people don't know this, but um, before this was the Golden One Center, this whole thing used to be a mall. Now it is, this where the Sacramento Kings play. So that's why I tell you guys, right, just like what it says on the description of the channel, Sacramento, California represents. So here we are. What is going to happen with Mexico? Will Mexico have a transition in terms of going from a country that is rather uh, peaceful at one? I mean, they were never really peaceful to begin with, but now, like, they make the past look peaceful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He says, climb the building, man. No, I won't. How about that? Climb the building. Which building are you talking about? Which building are you talking about? Here's this other idiot right here, staying off the grid, always coming in here talking smack, saying this, that, and the other. You should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You know what I mean? You really should be ashamed of yourself. He says, behind you for the views. Them. What is them? Yeah, dude, you know what? Please excuse me if I'm not able to read the extent of what you wrote, Marty Miller, because what, on my phone they give me something completely different than what it would say on a computer screen, and obviously I'm not in front of my computer right now because I'm not in front of my office. So yeah, you're gonna have to elaborate what you said there. Yeah, I don't know what that's saying right there. It says them, and then with some weird, he says, okay, we need public inter. Okay, hold on. All right, what about now? How's the audio going right now? You guys got to let me know ahead, right? Because I don't have a laptop in front of me to know whether the audio is playing or not. So I had to go and reset this. So you guys got to let me know straight away. He said, Jaya says, I eat pork meat. Yeah, good for you. I hope that your stomach, it treats you well when you get older, because for what I know, people that have, a high pork consumption, it doesn't really do them very well, later in their life. So, you can say that to say this just to, try and troll a Muslim just so you can feel better about yourself. Oh, yeah, I really told him I'm going to eat pork or this, that, and the other. But in reality, yeah, you're not going to experience any positive benefits from that. So, eat all the pork that you want, but ultimately you're not going to get anything good out of that. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear the audio right now. Let me know if you can hear the audio right now. Let me know. Somebody confirm with me if you can hear the audio, please. Fresh Melon Juice says, walk up to people who are eating and ask them to stop respect people who are suffering during Ramadan. Call Seinberger says, I eat a ham shank. Okay. Fresh, listen, that's very immature. I'm going to tell you why, right? As a man who has the ability to go buy food wherever I want, whenever I want, and me choosing to fast during Ramadan, it's very immature for me to do that because, let's be honest, right? It's a personal choice of mine. I never once, ever, in every year of Ramadan, ever asked a coworker, hey, listen, can you stop eating in front of me because it's offending me? It's my personal choice. If I'm really so offended that a person is eating right next to me, I might as just well go eat. Am I right? Right or wrong? Like, think about that. Think about that, man. Think about how immature that is, right? And quite frankly, I mean, antiquatedly oppositional to your religious purposes that you are trying to push. So, it's not a good idea to do that. But I get it, you're just joking and this and that, but I'm just kind of, approaching it in a way where, all right, maybe what if you're not joking, right? What if it's not a specific joke that you're saying, maybe what if you're serious, right? Just in a hypothetical sense. But, we know Fresh Melon Juice is the type of guy that, jokes about these things. So, I know you don't mean any harm by that, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if let's say I didn't know you and you were to say this to me, he says, hey, Muhammad, leave our dogs alone. He says, yeah, let's see some code switching. Look, this whole thing about dogs, right? Who was that senator that said something about dogs, how they would choose a dog over a Muslim, right? Who said that? Look, here's the thing. I don't like having dogs in my house. Okay, that's my personal choice. If you like having dogs in your house, guess what? I'm probably not going to go visit your house anytime soon. That's just my personal choice. I don't understand why people can't understand that. Why can't you guys understand that? Like, please explain to me why that's hard to understand. Why is it hard for people to understand, you know what? Dogs are not for him. And dogs are for me. But yet you want to make it into a clash of civilization. Victory says, let's see some code switching. Well, it depends, right? It would depend on the subject matter that we are specifically talking about. Right now, there is no code switching in this because if there's one thing I don't switch up is my faith. And you know that. You know that as a Christian, man. You know that's certainly not something that you're going to switch up for anybody, right? You are... He says, you just need to get into an argument. Dude, listen, you guys are, out of your mind talking about, I'm going to go get into an argument. Look, I need you to understand something, right? We don't need to stage an argument. Okay, here's what it is, right? I'm already a volatile person as it is. You guys understand that, right? I'm a very volatile person. So the fact that I'm a volatile person, somewhere along the lines, I'm going to get into a conflict again while I'm live streaming. He says, hey, turn around and make it clap for the chat. Okay, that's a weird thing to ask, Mario. Jaya says, we are coming for you to kick you out. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say. How are you going to kick me out when I do better in this country than most of you? In fact, I'm one of the last people you should kick out, considering the fact that I contribute, I pay taxes, I, give to... Well, I don't want to talk about that because, that's not something that Muslims talk about. But, yeah, that's just what it is. Muslims don't talk about the charity that they do. Mario says, please, yeah, dude, no. That's quite G-A-Y of you, to be quite honest with you. Very G-A-Y of you to say that. Let me ask you something, Jaya. The one that said, we are coming for you to kick you out. What good would it do kicking me out of this country? What good would it do kicking out any Muslim out of this country? Is that supposed to make the country any better? Or is it that you just fell into this propaganda of the ethnocentrism project that Donald Trump has going on, right? Because let's just be honest about it. As much as Trump says he loves the minorities, he loves the blacks, he loves the Hispanics, I love the Hispanics, the truth of the matter is, what he wants, well, not necessarily what he wants, what his base wants and what his supporters want is ethnocentric, Alejandro Guzman, I'm nowhere near Indian, my man. I'm not Indian at all. It's I don't know why you would even ask me that. I'm kind of offended that you asked me if I'm Indian. I'm an Arab man, for crying out loud. You know, don't you ever ask an Arab man, you know, what part of India are they from, or even mistaken me for an Indian at all. No disrespect to the Indians at all. You know what I mean? It's just that, hey, you know, I'm proud of what I am. I'm proud of my heritage. Just like a lot of you whites are proud of your heritage. Let's just be honest about that, right? A lot of white people are proud of their heritage. Or sometimes, if you're low IQ enough, you're just proud of being white. You're not proud to be Scottish. You're not proud to be Welsh. You're not proud to be German. You're not proud to be French. You're just proud to be white. And imagine how dumb that sounds, right? Imagine how dumb that sounds. You're just proud to be white. Okay, if you're proud to be white American, okay, then we're talking. We're talking here, right? If you're proud to be black American, okay, we're talking. But yeah, man. Fresh Melon says, I'm not. I am ashamed of the human race. Why is that? Why are you ashamed of the human race? What is it about the human race that shames you? He says, you are stuck. You have no country and no ethnicity. You are on someone else's land. You know how stupid that sounds of you to say that? Because, look, here's the thing, right? What you're talking about is symbolic gestures. Okay? That is what you're talking about ultimately, is symbolic gestures. The reason why you are speaking on symbolic gestures is because none of that is real. When somebody says, this is my land, this is where I'm from, you know, or I own this land, or I have more rights to this land, none of that matters. I'm going to tell you why none of that matters. If you own a property in California, or you own a property anywhere in the United States, nobody can take that property away from you unless, of course, you decide to break laws, and then at that point, the United States government, the federal government, is going to seize all your assets. And then that is the only way any of what you just said right now could be real. Other than that, everything that you just say is symbolic gestures. Like, you can't be living at a trailer park and then telling somebody to get out of your country, right? Especially if it is an immigrant or somebody that is part of an immigrant class that does better than you. And let's be honest about this. The majority of Asians do better than most whites. Okay, do you know what group of people in the United States has the richest group? It's the Asians, and Asians is a very loose term because, you know, part of Asians also sort of delves into the Indian ethnicity as well, right? They sort of classify that as the same thing. So, yeah, you are stuck on someone else's land. What an insane thing to say. You know, what an ignorant thing to say. Very ignorant of you to say that, Jaya. Very ignorant. I'm sorry, but it's quite ignorant. Like, imagine, you know, you don't like somebody, and then you go out of your way to come here and talk smack to me. All just so that you could feel better about yourself. Do you feel better about yourself now that you decided to go out of your way to come into a chat, okay? And you know what? I don't know if you specifically, like the content, or like the channel, or you know, you could have walked the other way, right? You realize that, right? You could have walked the other way. Anyways, just like you're a punk, just like that guy. Stupid ass. Talking about I'm in someone else's land. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even have $5,000 in your bank account. And we're going to run through the rundown again. You don't got $5,000 in your bank account. Your check engine lights is on. You got debt high up to the ceiling. You hate your life. You're living in under serious stress. So you come into this chat to feel better about yourself. And that's that. Victory says punk ass. Straight up, man. You know? So, man, pretty soon I'm going to have to put this on a members only, live stream. It's going to head into that because, I'm really about to crash out on you guys at the chat. Not crash out in person right here, or maybe that too, but, definitely crash out on you on the chat. So yeah, man, the fight is still going on, right? Can you confirm that? It is still going on. I know that I confirmed it earlier. I did look and see that, yes, the Brendan Moreno and, Loner Kavanaugh fight is still going on. But, it's subject to change at any given time. So, something to keep in mind about. You know what? Last time I was here, I didn't show you guys the upstairs portion of this little walkway right here. See, if you notice, I showed you guys all of this, right, when I was here during nighttime, right? I didn't show you guys the one up top. So he says, I saw they told Khamzat to hold his horses. What is that regarding? When Khamzat being told to hold his horses, what is that regarding exactly? Yeah, what is that regarding exactly? Like, whose horses, are they telling him to hold up on? Like, are they talking about the 205 fight with Jiri? Or maybe even Alex Pereira? That is, if Alex Pereira doesn't decide to move up. I suppose that would be, the the go-to move. So... yeah, so let me know what, he said he's not fighting for the light heavyweight belt anytime soon. Damn, man, that is disappointing. That is disappointing. Which makes that video that I made, that live stream that I did the other day, quite frankly, almost null and voided in a way. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. But still, it was a gem, so it's not like I'm going to take it down or anything, you know what I mean? It was what it was, so, man, then that means, you know what? That's not bad, though. That ain't bad. I'll tell you why that's not bad, because at least you'll get Khamzat and Sean Strickland. I've been wanting to see, yeah, it's a good clickbait, for sure. I've been wanting to see Sean Strickland fight Khamzat as far back as 2019, okay? Remember I told you guys when Sean Strickland came to my, my Facebook page, right? He made that comment about, the Brazilian forest fire, right? Where, with those Saudis that sort of, what do you call it? Those Saudis that donated fire equipment to Brazil, right? I made a comment about that, or made a post about it. He went on there and he said something to the effect of, man, I don't know why Muhammad loves the trees but not the women. And yet here's this guy, all right, who wants to say some nefarious stuff about Muslims, and quote unquote how, women are treated or this, that, and the other. And then it's like, you have this attitude where they should all be in the kitchen, or, this. And look, here's the thing, right? It's not like I completely disagree with Sean Strickland in any kind of way, but the point of the matter is the guy has no definitive ideology to anything. Like, Sean Strickland just says, here's the thing, you guys, here's my take, and he just wants to say his take just so he can sound aggressive, just so he can sound abrasive, just so he can sound like he's making a noise about something to sound interesting, when in reality, Sean Strickland, and just like his fans, are just a bunch of idiots that don't really have an attitude. Yes, I am fasting, to be honest with you. Yes, I am fasting, yes. Because if I wasn't, man, I would be, eating at, any one of these, wonderful restaurants that they got going on right here. Look at that Lunch Bowl Social. They got a little sugar candy store right there. They got, sushi down there. They got poke bowl. They got all types of things over here. And here I am, fasting, just chilling. So, did you see the clip of Khamzat sparring Rockhold? Is it Rockhold or is it Khalil Roundtree? Because I saw the one with Khalil Roundtree, not necessarily with Victory says, you think Zayn is actually doing Ramadan? Of course, man. Of course. Why would he not? You know what? It's not so much of the fasting or even the praying of Tadawee that I'm worried about with him. You know what it is. I'm worried about something else completely different, because you know what? There's still fights going on. And if there's fights going on, then you know that he's going to, place bets on those fights. And if he places bets on those fights, then, he's liable to either win, money or lose money. And, none of those things can be good. He says there's one with Rockhold and Roundtree. So there you go. Okay, so he says, I thought you were a WB fan only. I didn't know you were man, listen, I'll tell you what, Ishai, I'm more than just a UFC fan. I actually train MMA. So, you know what I mean? I've actually fought. So, it's a little bit more than just being a UFC fan. I mean, I just figured, what, why not make an MMA channel just so I can talk about these things, right? You got to understand, I'm vehemently obsessed with the sport. So, that I might as well go and, have a conversation about it. He says, oh, damn well he's betting. But betting on what, though? What? Okay, think about this. What, maybe Ryan Garcia fight? Obviously that's a sure bet. For sure, he was probably betting on that. But, going into that fight, though, the Ryan Garcia and the Barrios fight, that was a 50-50 fight from what I feel going into it. He says it's hard to make it out here, bruv. I got bills, bruv. You know damn well you don't use bruv as some sort of vernacular in your vocabulary, right? You're just saying that to mock him, and well, yeah, I mean, that's quite obvious, right? You're just saying that to mock him. And he's betting on dog racing. It's a UK thing. Yes, you are right about that. They do a lot of horse betting. I'm sorry, dog race bettings in the UK. And yes, it is a UK thing. That specifically is a street thing, right? It's a hood urban street thing in the UK for them to do that. That was Zayn talking. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, man, look. The other day, at the mosque, I want to tell you about the speech that I heard the imam say, right? I think that it kind of goes into what we're talking about with Zayn, right? You guys have to excuse me. I'm, very sleepy. My eyes are like, really droopy right now, because when you're in Ramadan, it's sometimes a little bit hard to get sleep. You know what I mean? Like, you're fasting all day and then you break your fast at night and then you're just up all night. So, please excuse me, but the imam said that for those people who are making, non-halal money, and or let's say if they're, you know, if they have, you know, a certain level of success with their, you know, non-halal money, right? Allah was going to bless them with that money anyway. You understand? The only thing is they just decided they were going to, you know, make their money in that specific way and not the, you know, halal way. So they just decided, you know what, we're just going to go with that. And, you know, and then we're just going to think that this is a blessing. But in reality, you're not only leading yourself into the hellfire, but you're also missing, you know, other types of blessings that you could have. Like, for example, let's say if he won, okay, he won $10,000 out of that Hamza Shiraz and Berlanga fight, right? Because that's his homie. He absolutely believes in him. He's around his gym. He's seen him train on a daily basis. So he knows that this guy is going to win, even though Berlanga was a heavy favorite going into that. So he won $10,000, right? He won $10,000, but he could have gotten that $10,000 from another way, right? Maybe, you know, a lucrative job that he could have, you know, went for, or maybe some sort of like business venture or investment that he could have put on. You know what I mean? Fresh Melon Juice says, the loopholes, the Jews and Muslims. What do you mean by loopholes? There's no loopholes in that. I literally said that just because, you know, you gained, you know, you gained some money from that, it doesn't mean that you couldn't have done it in another way. So in other words, what the whole entire speech was trying to say was that if you are destined to get money, or if you're destined to, you know, obtain a certain money, it's going to come to you. It is upon your choice of whether you're going to get it, you know, legally or illegally, right? He just decided, you know what, I'm going to get it this way, but you never know. He may have missed out on a job opportunity, an investment opportunity that, you know, he did it, that he decided not to partake in, and as a result, you know, now he's reaping the rewards of the world, but at the same time reaping, you know, the negative aspects of the afterlife, right? Because, again, like I said, he could have, you know, gotten it, you know, by other means. So, Aisha says that's a good message. Yeah, that was last Friday. You know, I had listened to that you know, speech in you know, in the sermon. You know, that was a very interesting sermon because, you know, it kind of delves into destiny if you think about it, right? Like, for example, if you were destined to, you know, make this much, nobody is going to stop you on how to, you know, on how you're going to make it. It is only your choice on how you're going to make it. So, for example, if Allah destined for me to be a billionaire, right? No one is going to stop that, right? But it is entirely my choice how I'm going to get there, right? Am I going to get there by being, you know, a hardcore, you know, coke dealer, or am I going to get there as an app developer, right? Meaning doing it the legal way, right? So it is entirely up to me on how that is going to do. He says, the black dudes flipped you off when he walked by. Okay, which one? Which dudes? I didn't see them. I didn't see any black dudes. I only saw one black dude with some chick, and that's about it. So yeah, I only saw one black dude. So I mean, I don't know which one you are specifically talking about. Like, yeah, and then there's one like coming towards me this way, and then one that's walking away with his girl. Yeah, those are the only black dudes I saw, bro. You know, are you sure? You know, but yeah, man, yeah, hey, listen, I look at it like this, right? If you're not doing it in my face, you know what I mean, then, you know, I really don't have, you know, any issues with that. So, you know. Jacoby says a pathetic loser with too much money and too little caring for anyone but themselves should be a huge ick for everyone. What do you mean by that, Jacob? Explain what that means. Aisha says God is the best of all planners. Yes, that's the that's the overall sentiment with that, right? You know, Allah is the best of all planners. Yes. But what do you mean by that? A pathetic loser with too much money and too little caring for anyone but themselves should be a huge ick for everyone. Yeah, explain what that means. You're going to have to elaborate on that. What is that in reference to, by the way, specifically? But yeah, guys, listen, I got about, I'm going to do about 5 minutes into this live stream. You know, I just kind of wanted to keep it, you know, within an hour or less than an hour. Let me know who you guys have for Brendan Moreno versus Kavanaugh. I'm going to probably go with Brendan Moreno on that one, right? Home field advantage. Well, not really home field advantage. I mean, I think he fights out of Mexico, right? I think he fights out of Mexico. So, yeah, that is a home field advantage. So, I'm going to go with Brendan Moreno. You know, he has great experience in 5 rounds, whether it's championship rounds or just main events. Yeah, I'm going to go with Brendan Moreno on that one. In the meantime, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a walkthrough, and then we'll head on up out of here. So, Aisha says, UC comes on, might move up to light heavyweight to fight Jerry. Yeah, I made a video on it the other day, but apparently, according to Marty, that is not the case. That, you know, it is not what they are trying to do. So, oh, this is close. Okay. Oh, other side. Okay, got it. Okay, we gotta mute this because, you know, some music playing. Good, good. All right, sorry, I got to get out of here because there's music playing, and you know, I don't want to get copyright struck. But all right, let's go to the upstairs area right here, just to kind of show you this this area right here. That, so they got like little refreshers right there. He says, I'm not sure. It seems like that's what they are going to do. You know what? Listen, so that's the thing, right? Like, look, I kind of don't mind if he doesn't move up, because I look at it like, look, you know, he's got unfinished business with Sean Strickland anyway, and there's nothing more I would love to see than for Sean Strickland to shut his mouth up, you know, completely, and you know, and I think that's what's going on. So they got a movie theater right here. Oh, wow, VR. Look at this. They got some VR going on here. Wow, okay. Oh, no. I'm just looking. I'm just live streaming, just, you know, just checking out what this is. So what is it that you guys...
This is Sandbox VR, with full body immersive virtual reality experience.
Uh-huh.
We have our flyers with information on the back.
Okay.
Trailers for all of our experience, as well as information on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You as well. There you go, guys. So see, check this out right here. So that's what that is right here. You know, little VR that they got going on here. Wow. Okay, I didn't even know they had all of this here, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know they had all of this here. So, all right, let's check this out right here. These are games right here. So look. So this is the type of stuff they got going on here, right? A Pirate's Curse, Lost City, Mansion Murder. That's cool. Dark Knight Challenge. He says, you're off your head. What do you mean? How am I off my head? Like, you know, how do you just come up with off comments like that out of nowhere, saying like, I'm off my head? Off my head in terms of what exactly? All right, so there's tandoori pizza. I suppose that's, yeah. And Panda Express, obviously, you got to have Panda Express. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, this is the movie theater right here. Okay. Now, back in the days when this used to be a mall, they obviously had like a movie theater out here, right? So they just completely stripped down this indoor mall and basically turned it into an outdoor type of area. And of course, you know, you can't be in California without, you know, some good, you know, burritos and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, right here. So there's Old Sac right there. I've showed you guys this several times. Now you're getting like a different view of it from the top. See, right here. There's the towers right there. Yard House. Yeah, all this used to be a mall, guys. All of this used to be a mall. So there it is. He says, oh, never mind. No, I wasn't saying that to you, Kyrie. Oh, okay. He says, no, you're good. I don't really think Sean has much of a chance. It would be a good place to go for a run. Yes, man, I've gone plenty of times running out here, you know, especially like even as far back as like 2009 or something like that. Fresh says, look at DDP's face after the Strickland. And after comes hospital versus back to the gym the next day, Strickland will crush him. Yeah, dude, you're saying that he's going to crush him because you have an inherent bias towards you know, Sean Strickland. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it comes down to. There's an inherent bias there. And look, here's the thing, right? It's not like we don't have, you know, inherent bias. I mean, every guy that looks like me with a beard and no mustache, of course, I'm going to pick, you know, in a fight. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's only natural that you're going to, you know, pick someone like that. So, Victory says, yeah, I take that back. Sean is definitely going to wipe the mat with Kamzat's beard. Oh man, now you're trolling. Marty, you as a guy that grew up wrestling, do you honestly think that that's the case? And also, man, I hate to say it, but you know, Fluffy didn't grow up wrestling. Did you know that? I know this because on the same day that me and him were fighting, okay, that we fought on the same card, I literally asked him, hey, dude, did you wrestle in high school? He said no. So the dude never, you know, he doesn't have an extensive, you know, wrestling background like that. He says, Sean is going to dog walk Kamzat like he's put on a leash. Man, I can't believe that. And you're a Muslim going for Sean Strickland. Okay, well, that's interesting. He says, oh, let the back pedal begin. All I heard was Sean couldn't stop Fluffy wrestling. Yeah, man. Listen, look, I should have known, bro. I should have remembered that conversation that me and Fluffy had back in 2012. You know, I asked Fluffy, I said, did you wrestle in high school? He said no. I don't know why I completely forgot that. You know what I mean? But it would have helped because, dude, if you didn't wrestle in high school, oh my goodness, bro, listen, it's a problem. But you know what? Here's the thing. George St. Pierre never wrestled in high school or college. He didn't do none of that. He didn't wrestle at all. But why is it that he has this insane elite wrestling, insane elite MMA wrestling to be specific? He says, are you in Vegas? No, this is Sacramento right here. This is in Sacramento. So, yeah, not Vegas. I don't know why you would think that's Vegas, but, you know, there's, you know, there's not enough hookers out here to, you know, to make that indicative of Vegas of any kind. So, that, for sure, that dude's, you know, a senator. I can tell. I could tell that dude's a senator. And he smiled back at me. He's like, yup, I am. He says, yeah, GSP is white. That's why. Okay, so you're saying that, that white people are easily adaptable to wrestling than other groups of people? Is that what you're saying? He says, yeah, that guy in the suit was giving you the side eye. Yeah, because I said that he was a senator, because remember, dude, we're in the Capitol, right? We're in Sacramento, the Capitol. So, he says, keep your eyes down, brother. Keep my eyes down. That was, it's a little sus there for you to say that. Wow. All right, man. So, all right, guys, listen, I'm going to go for a swim. I'm going to, get a little afternoon, training session, get a swim session going on right now. That is all that I really have for you guys right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, man, let me know what you guys think on the comment section below once the live stream is over. Let me know who you think is going to win this weekend between Brendan Moreno and Loner Kavanaugh. All right, so your gaze, yeah, but there was nobody around. There was nobody around for me to, have my gaze, unless you're talking about the dude in the suit, and I'm certainly not no Elton John. So you're referring to, you guys are crazy, but yeah, man. All right, y'all, listen, that's all that I got for this one right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah.